So for the past couple of months, we have seen Canada pretty much effectively launch quite a successful boycott. Our boycotts can be successful. However, people really have to want to do it. And oh boy, have the Canadians been motivated to do that first and foremost. Next, of course, is making sure that the products you are buying are American. And that can be incredibly hard. So one of the products that we'll be talking about at the moment is Coca-Cola. And oh boy, it is insane to think just how many other like subsidiaries of like drinks brands Coca-Cola offers. So don't get me wrong, if you want to participate in a sort of US protest by avoiding US brands, to begin with, it will be hard. I make no bare bones about it, but there are alternatives out there. You know, if you know some, if you see, this particular product that you know is American, well, there are these alternatives. Do put those down below in the chat as well. Like I say, I think it will be very valuable for other people to know about that, because that is part of the big thing. If, I can't buy that because it is US branded, what are the alternatives you can do? And the other thing, and in fact, the best thing you could probably do right now is really start to look local, like what your local butchers are doing. Like, find out, do you have a local butcher near you? Start going to go see them to buy your meat. Farm shops traditionally do have a lot of locally sourced goods and produce, but again, still be careful. Of course, it's not all, should we say, locally produced produce, so be careful on that. But they are at least good places to start. But like I say, there are options out there, but it is admittedly quite hard, especially as you'll see, like soft drinks, because Coca-Cola, oh boy, do they dominate that market. So before we do go talking about what US brands you can boycott to protest, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button down below. Of course, there are the Patreon page, there's the Buy Me Coffee link, there's the YouTube thank you button, and of course, as always, there is the Pony Club down below as well. So let's go on into this. Which US brands can I avoid in protest? So it appears that the US brand boycott is now gathering pace. Following the now infamous Oval Office and Zelensky press conference that recently shook the UK and Europe, more and more people now seem to be setting up and taking notice of the Trump administration's increasingly aggressive foreign policy decisions. And oh boy, will they have done all this. And this is how you can really fight back on this. Really, really fight back on this. So they talk about, again, those huge tariffs put on Canada and Mexico. Like I say, obviously, there's a bit older on this. But this is, I think, where it really sort of hits the thing. Whilst many people feel completely helpless watching all the chaos unfold, others are currently trying to take the Canadian approach by protesting with their wallets to completely boycott US brands. This is aimed to hit Trump's billionaire backers where it hurts, in their pockets. Elon Musk has seen his Tesla shares fall off a cliff, and buying boycott within the US, Canada, and Europe, and the boycott aims now to pressure on elsewhere as well. Zoe Gardner, an organizer at the Stop the Trump coalition in the UK, is now seeing rapid interest, an increase in the issue. A lot of people were seeing to come out organically or even putting stuff up on TikTok. So people are furious, and this is about trying to take back power. Already across Europe, we are seeing sales of Tesla falling off a cliff, and much, of course, of the problem is, of course, with the Trump administration, both of the horrible culture of racism and the economic slide. In a globalized world, consumers can tune to align their purchase decisions with their values, whether for political, ethical, environmental, or economical reasons. Growing consumer boycotts do demonstrate the power that still is very much in the hands of people. More UK shoppers should consider boycotting American brands in favor of even British or even European alternatives. Or they could just simply go without their weekly Costa or McDonald's. So here's 50 brands right now you can boycott. Like 50 brands you can just go in and straight away and boycott on this. Food and beverage. I think we know some of these instantly. McDonald's. Now, McDonald's, admittedly, that's quite different because not all the McDonald's in the UK are 100% USA owned. There are, of course, some who are franchisees who are owned by, in like the UK. So, admittedly, that is difficult. But hey, don't go to McDonald's. There are alternatives, but it is admittedly quite different, quite difficult. Coca-Cola, as we said, easily one of the world's most biggest recognizable brands out there. But as like a subsidiaries that they own, insane. Absolutely insane. But it's not too difficult. Like I say, you're just going to know what to look for and what other brands are available for you to purchase. Pepsi, of course, Coke's biggest rival, but again, still a US company. Again, stop going to Starbucks. Look now for like independent coffee houses. I know in up here we've got 200 degrees. There's Coffee Boys. There are lots of small independent coffee houses you can go to instead of Starbucks or Costa or any of those other sort of, shall we say, brands. So do, like I say, consider alternatives. KFC, of course, as well. Another big American brand. Burger King, of course, another fast food alternative. Subway, of course, as well. Domino's as well, another major player in the fast foods. Kellogg's. So, if you are a cereal buyer, look out for like alternatives to your cornflakes and your Frosties. General Mills, Cheerios, Haagen-Dazs, big American company. They produce a lot of other stuff. So the main thing, and it's just that the thing you've got to try and look for is that alternative. And it wouldn't surprise me, bear in mind, it would not surprise me if someone comes up with an app. Like, please, like, can someone come up with an app? Like, if you want to boycott this and just be like, right, I want to buy, Coca-Cola, or I like, cola in the UK. What alternatives can I buy that is not, a US brand? And there are, of course, alternatives. But as we said, it's just knowing what those alternatives are and not going, Coca-Cola, and just going straight for it. Like I say, marketing, I know how it works. It gets into your head. But it is something that if you break the habit and you start buying those alternatives, you will start to pull away from those. Next up, retail and clothing. Amazon, of course. Amazon, very, very difficult sometimes to sort of pull away from, especially if you're looking for, to get a hold of something quick. We've all done it. Amazon, really, part of its big dominance has been just convenience in that area. We're all guilty of it. And I think out of all of us, I think Amazon, for a lot of us, is going to be very, very hard to try and fully, shall we say, 100% boycott. I know myself, it's going to be sort of somewhat difficult, but not impossible. But like I say, that is part of the problem I think we're all going to find for this. Nike, of course, as well. Adidas, although the US division, because there's although it is a German brand, its US arm operates separately. So again, that might be 100% hard to sort of say, are you buying Adidas clothing that is going through the German arm, or is it going through the US division? Again, as we said, some of this stuff not 100% easy to find out. Levi's, of course, for jeans. Under Armour, a competitor to Nike and Adidas. Gap, of course, as well. Walmart, Asda. This will be a hard one for, I think, a lot of people. Because it depends what big supermarket alternative you might have. Now, if you do go to Asda and you do, shop there, you can, and still, I would say, encourage you to participate in the boycott. Walmart, of course, will still be profiting from that at the end of the day, but if you do not have like a should we say an alternative to go to, I would not begrudge anyone going to Asda if they do not have an alternative to go to. Because, like I say, you can still somewhat participate in this boycott. So, Costco, of course, a big wholesale American retailer, Foot Locker, VF Corporation. This owns the brands of North Face, Vans, and Timberland. So, this is the other thing as well. So, brands like that are under sort of the ownership of like an American company. Again, definitely useful if someone comes up with an app that says, oh, yeah, this is all this other stuff you can do. And then tech and electronics. This, especially for me, is going to be very difficult, especially the fact Google and Facebook, because I have to use a lot of those stuff, for my job. I can't get out of that. As I said, it's not going to be 100% achievable for everyone. Of course, Apple, Microsoft, again, going to be quite hard for a lot of people. Like I say, you use a lot of Microsoft products. Unfortunately, we can't, should we say, ditch it all 100%. But there you go. Tesla, of course, Amazon Web Services, of course, Twitter as well. If you haven't, stopped using Twitter, now's the time to do it. Hewlett Packard or HP, known for the printers. Dell, of course, as well. Boss, as well, on that. And of course, when it comes to media and Netflix, of course, pretty much everything is this is probably going to be the hardest one, because you've got Netflix, Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Universal Studios, Spotify, EA, Activision Blizzard, Take-Two Interactive, Amazon Prime Video. So many like all these things where it's hard. But like I say, if you can't participate in one boycott, you can look at others, of course. And then, of course, financial services. I don't know how you would, get away, because we all use the visa system. We can't not use the visa system unless, again, you go back to sort of using cash and all that. But there you go. But yeah, a lot of these financial services, like PayPal, there are now alternatives to PayPal. You've got Stripe, I think, which is not an American one owned, I think, as far as I'm aware on that. So there are like alternatives on that. But it is, of course, I think for a lot of us, very, very achievable on a lot of stuff. Like, say, it's making the choice of what we buy. And as a consumer, making an informed decision, of course, of what you buy in, what you put in your shopping basket at the end of the day. Not, of course, I will agree. If there is a point where you're in the shop and it's like, but it's US, don't worry about it. Don't feel too guilty about breaking the boycott. No one's gonna like, beat you over the head with it. But it's just about making informed decisions at the end of the day and knowing sort of what is and what isn't. And like I say, best thing to do, shop locally. That really is the best way in a lot of situations to really help do that. But as always, put stuff down below. If you know stuff that is like an alternative to this American brand that you can buy because it's either made in the UK or made in Europe, put it down below. It will help more people with that information. But I suspect some point or sooner or later we are going to see even more boycotts of US goods. I think it's inevitable now, especially now with that 10% tariff on us. And of course, potentially more on the way. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.